Hello and welcome to another video which is going to show you how to get Tom grades. Tom grades? No, top grades. It's because Dom Harvey sent me this question. See what he did to me there. Here's what he says, and 19 of you have liked it to say, yes, I want to see that video too. Feel like I've learned so much in-depth and grade 9 analysis from your videos. Whenever I have literature tests on, let's say, Jekyll and Hyde, I try and squeeze it all in there, in the hope to get more marks. But I feel like it doesn't make my writing flow and have a clear point. So this is brilliant. You are in that perfect state, which is called learning. So in more formal or intellectual terms, this means you are in a liminal state. Tell me what that means, Mr. Salles. It means when you start to master new knowledge, such as the grade 9 stuff you're getting from my guides or my videos. But you still have old misconceptions about what it means to write an essay here that you haven't got rid of yet. Once you can get rid of those, you pass from the liminal state to a secure state. You will have fully learned it. So the issue here is no one's made you learn what an essay needs to do. Let's find out now. So I'm going to start by saying your essay should have 8 paragraphs to it. Paragraph 1 will be your thesis statement. Hopefully you already know what that is from my other videos. If not, check them out up here somewhere or stay tuned. So here we are at the Jekyll and Hyde question. There's your extract, and obviously you've got to answer a question. Let's zoom in and see what that question is. So the examiner says, starting with this extract, explore how Stevenson creates mystery and tension. Well, actually, the examiner doesn't care whether you start with this extract or not. The extract is not mentioned in the mark scheme, but you do have to write about mystery and tension. If you've watched my other videos, you'll know that that's not good enough, however. You have to have a conceptualized argument, a well-structured argument. Well, to do that, you'll remember you have to write about society. One good, two bad. So now I've got to argue that Stevenson uses mystery and suspense in order to show that a Christian society is a good society, and the suspense all surrounds the motives of the evil Hyde, who at the end we find out is the evil Dr. Jekyll, but good society triumphs because Jekyll and Hyde are both killed. The novelist, therefore, takes the view that evil must be punished, and Christianity and Christian faith rules the social order, and that order is restored. He is also looking at the mystery surrounding Utterson's behaviour and Jekyll's desire to create Hyde in the first place, and this points to the hypocrisy of middle-class men who have an external façade, the face they present to the world, which is respectable, but actually beneath that their real selves are far more prone to sin, lust, greed, all those human desires which they're not supposed to exhibit in a Christian society. So they hide them, but actually their actions allow them to indulge those things. Now, because I'm writing about Jekyll that way, all the examiners will go, oh yes, that's very true. But if I'm now presenting Utterson that way, who is a more nuanced character, one who's more difficult to interpret, the examiner will go, ooh, interesting argument. And then we'll say that Utterson represents the law in society. See what I did there? And the mystery surrounding his actions, Stevenson uses to criticize the law, which protects middle-class men of property and wealth. So how that would look in my essay is paragraph 2 will be one example of where Stevenson is arguing about something good in society. So he uses Utterson to unravel the mystery, because remember, that word was in the question, I've got to go back to it, to make sure that the evil Hyde doesn't triumph, and Utterson's also protecting society from that evil and his friend Jekyll. In paragraph 3, I get my second example of how the author looks at society in a good way, and so Stevenson himself punishes Hyde and Jekyll for their evil transgressions against Christian morality. Boom, I've done the good bits of society 3 paragraphs down. So now I have to argue how he also shows society in a bad light because he wants to change it. So here Stevenson shows Jekyll's façade, that means the false front that he puts forward, the hypocrisy of middle-class men, represented by Jekyll, who are acting sinfully in secret. So Stevenson is arguing this whole section of society is hypocritical in the same way as Jekyll. Now I've got to have another example of bad society which is connected to this one. Now in paragraph 5 I'm going to have a similar example of where Stevenson is criticising society. So the good, and I use that in inverted commas even though they're not there, Utterson, is also hypocritical. See how it's a similar example because we had hypocrisy up there. So he hides evidence from the police, for example the cane that was used as the murder weapon, which is linked directly to Jekyll, and Jekyll's forgery of a letter which pretends to be from Hyde but actually helps the murderer escape. Now, as a lawyer, of course, Utterson should back the law and give that straight to the police, but he doesn't. He covers up for his friend, and the mystery is, why does he do that? And of course, the other why mystery is, why does Jekyll forge for Hyde even when he knows Hyde is a murderer? So we move now to paragraph 6, which must be also about a bad society. Remember, 2 bad, so this one and that one counted as 1 bad because they were linked. Here's my different bad. Hyde represents the Victorian fears of the theory of evolution and of the development of science because it challenged Christianity. It simply showed that the Bible story, the creation story, was an allegory. It wasn't exactly true. Stevenson, as you may know, was an atheist who rejected his parents' Christianity when he went to university, and therefore he actually feels the same way as Hyde does. So although the characters in the novel see him as the very embodiment of evil with Satan's signature written across his face, Stevenson himself believes in no hell, believes in no Satan, and therefore he is mocking his readers for their Christian belief. He is attacking his society for having what he sees as a false view of what is good and what is evil. In other words, Christian morality he thinks is wrong. So this brings us to paragraph 7, which must be a similar example where Stevenson is criticising society for being bad. Jekyll's desires are not sinful. So Jekyll's sin is linking us back to Hyde. But Christian society represses them. See how I've linked back to Christianity being challenged here. So Christian morals tell Jekyll that he's got to repress whatever these desires are. He therefore represses Hyde by refusing to turn into him. So Hyde becomes trapped in Jekyll's body, not being able to experience the pleasures for which he was made. He therefore becomes violent, and when he is released, remember he's described as like a caged beast, he comes out and clubs Sir Danvers Carew to death. Now, the conventional view is that this proves how evil Hyde is, but no, Stevenson is attacking society for repressing Hyde. He's saying that society has caused this. So society takes anything that's remotely sinful inside us and makes it much, much worse. Or, if you prefer, he's taking pleasures which Jekyll enjoys, and Christianity portrays those pleasures as a sin, but obviously because Stevenson is an atheist, he does not see them as sinful. And then we come to the concluding paragraph, paragraph 8. You will always be able to write about the ending. That's where your conclusion most easily fits. And you're going to argue that it helps us understand the author's viewpoint. So here, Utterson witnesses the punishment of Jekyll and Hyde, but there is a new will which leaves all of Jekyll's fortune, and it is a fortune, to Utterson. Utterson, therefore, does not give the murderer's confession to the police. Oh no, because if he did that, then he would be associated with Jekyll's sinfulness, with Hyde's evil, and then in respectable society he would not be able to accept the fortune that he inherits. So he hushes it up and he gets this great fortune. In other words, he's acting entirely out of self-interest. So this is Stevenson's way of saying that even the good people, or the apparently good people in this society, are corrupt. Even the Christian ones like Utterson, who you remember lives next door to a church. And then, because we're awesome, we're going to introduce a little bit of context in our conclusion as well, and show that Stevenson fled the country virtually once he'd written this book, and went to live in a more primitive society, to Samoa, rejecting this kind of middle-class existence in London, because he found it stifling and hypocritical. So, Dom Harvey, hopefully you understand how that works. If not, why don't you screenshot some of this plan? So, paragraph 1, paragraph 2, 3, 4, 5. What's that doing there? Let's get in the right place. Thank you very much, Mr. Salles. Paragraph 6, paragraph 7, and finally paragraph 8. Of course, this video has not just been about Jekyll and Hyde. The bold bits help you understand how your essay will link together and always give you top grades. Hopefully you can understand that's what flow means. It means that one argument leads to another. Remember, when you wrote your thesis statement at the beginning, you showed what you were going to argue in the rest of the essay, and then you just followed it through, 2 paragraphs exploring the good aspects of society that the author wants to point out, and then 4 paragraphs showing the bad aspects of society that the author wants us to write about. Obviously, you're not going to use the word bad, are you, in the essay, and good? That's just so that you understand my shorthand. And then finally a conclusion in which you show how this shows the author's final viewpoint. Boom. Why not watch the video again on 1.5 speed and see how fast I can get, and then you can understand it and do even better in the exam. Links to other videos should be appearing up here and down here and round about and who knows where. Good luck. See you soon.